Hey guys, it's Trevor. You might be asking yourself, why am I filming a video with my cell phone? And it sounds like crap, looks like crap, and it might be a little windy when I got all this camera crap behind me. Well, it's because I've been asked lately, what's in my YouTube arsenal? So today, I'm going to show you the crap that I use to make a YouTube video.
Come on. What you want? What you want? Come on. What you want? Come on.
So when it comes to the mechanics of actually making a YouTube video, a lot of people want to know what's the camera that the YouTuber's using. And I know that not everybody has multiple cameras or a lot of cameras, but I'm assuming that there's a few YouTubers out there like me that have more than they need, but it's just crap that I keep buying. But the main camera that I like to use is my actual Canon SL1. This is just a intermediate or entry-level SLR, so it's actually a interchangeable lens body. The SL1 is actually a small framed camera. You know, it's a little bit smaller than like a T5i or T3i, which a lot of YouTubers are very familiar with when it comes to making YouTube videos. I find that this SL1 does very good video and it works really, really well with my Canon L lenses. So this is my go-to camera for my YouTube videos. But I do have a Canon T5i here. This T5i I actually use a lot for my short films and things like that. It actually has a nightly build of Magic Lantern loaded onto it, so it's kind of interesting. The Magic Lantern firmware kind of changes the way this camera behaves. Since both these cameras are actually photography cameras, they're actually meant for photos, but have good perks to being a video camera, they work fairly well for what we do on YouTube. But with the Magic Lantern software or firmware that is used on the Canon T5i, it actually makes this Canon behave like a professional grade video camera, and it's a really unique thing. It gives you a lot more control over your video, and so that's a lot of the reason why I use this T5i. But most of the videos I film with this camera, I don't ever put on YouTube because they're for other projects and things like that. The other cameras that I like to use is just your run-of-the-mill cameras that everybody's very familiar with, and we all know these guys. These are GoPros. This is a GoPro Silver Edition, and this is a GoPro Black. The thing about these cameras is they're not actually mine. These belong to two very good friends of mine. This is my friend Jerry's, who basically lets me permanently borrow his GoPro Silver Edition. I pretty much steal it from him all the time, but he's a good dude, and I appreciate him letting me use this a lot. This other one is a Black Edition that's on a short-term loan from my buddy Cody from HornPornIndustries. I've been using this camera for a shoot on a Volkswagen buggy that I've been working on, and I'm actually going to share that video with you guys, but I've been working on it for the past month, and I probably have another week or so of it filming to do and then editing. But Cody from HornPornIndustries, he actually has a YouTube channel. I'll put the link down below to his channel. He does a lot of wildlife photography and videography, and he's very much into big game. And if you're interested in mule deer, elk, just wildlife that you don't get to see all the time, like big game, record game, you might want to check out his channel. But to Jerry and Cody, I really appreciate them always allowing me to borrow their equipment. What's last on my list is the cameras I actually originally used a ton was just these regular video cameras. And this is a Sony CX210. This is my very first actual video camera that I really use for YouTube, and I liked it a lot. It works really well. It does good audio. Ironically, Matt V 2099 uses this camera a lot in all his guns and food videos, and he's got like 3, I think. This is my JVC. Similar, basically same camcorder style, but what's fun about this one is it does 200 frames a second at 480p, which is kind of cool. It's a lot of fun. It's not very good quality. It's not near as cool as 720 or 1080p or even 1940 or 1920. I don't know, but that's kind of fun about those. And I use these cameras for just filming odd angles and stuff of shoots where I don't really need a lot of good audio, or video quality is not as imperative. This is my flip style. It's waterproof, shockproof. Sarah got this for me. I use it mainly for all my goofing around videos where, you know, I'm gonna get it wet or out on the beach or the dirt and things like that. And so this thing does 1080p Not the greatest video, terrible zoom, but the audio on it is extremely good, and I love the mic. I've actually used this camera just as a microphone, because that's how good the audio sounds on this thing. Since I do use SLRs for most of my videos, I'm able to use multiple different versions of lenses, and I was going to give you a rundown on kind of the lenses that I mainly use for my YouTube videos. The main lens I like to use the most is this 17 to 40 millimeter L lens. This is a wide angle lens. This lens is extremely good for when you're actually running and gunning and moving around, because the wider the angle of the lens, the bigger field of view, it looks less shaky, because when you're up close everything looks super shaky, but if I'm like this and I'm moving the same amount, it doesn't shake as much, and it makes a lot less work when you're trying to stabilize a film or a video in editing process and stuff like that. My second lens that I use a lot is this 24 to 105 L lens. This is a great portrait lens. It's very good for stabilized filming, shooting from a tripod or a stationary object. It works super well for that. The other thing that I use is a 70 to 200 millimeter telephoto lens with a f-stop of 2.8. What makes this lens super cool is, since it's got a 2.8 f-stop, it makes your subject super sharp and crisp, and the background ultra blurry, and it looks amazing and beautiful. The one thing about this lens though is it's not my lens either. It's another kind of long-term loaner, my buddy Jack, who actually helped me get my SL1 for my YouTube videos as well. This is his personal lens, and he lets me use it a lot, and Jack, I just want to tell you thank you, and I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and you've always been a huge encouragement to my YouTube channel. And enough said with that, but I just wanted him to know that I appreciate all the things he's done for me. These other two lenses that I have are just standard kit lenses. This is a 55 to 250, and then this is a 18 to 55. These lenses are just kit lenses. They come with cameras. I use them for just goofing around if I don't want to get my expensive lenses damaged or hurt or anything, or I'm running a risk with it. The one thing that happens is when you're shooting with like a 2.8 f-stop or a 4.0, your images get blown out because they're letting in so much light. These are my neutral density filters. They're basically tinted pieces of glass that allow less light in, so I can compensate for my f-stop being so low and not letting in as much light to blow out the object or the image, and then it allows my subject to keep that really soft, blurry, beautiful background. But that's my lens setup. So one thing that I do deal with a lot is when I'm shooting with my cameras, I have to use tripods. So I basically got 4 main tripods that I use. These are my super ultra cheap Manfrottos. You get these at Best Buy for like 35 bucks. I got a Vanguard. This sucker's an expensive, heavy-duty aluminum, super sturdy. This tripod I use for pretty much everything for my filming. And then this is my other Manfrotto. This is a very expensive photography style on-the-go tripod, but it works really well for video as well. And I use this when I'm actually moving around. It attaches to my backpack. And for its size and build, it collapses very small. It collapses under 22 inches, so it's easy to fit in a bag. The other thing that I use a lot is a monopod. I use this for most of my photography, especially when I'm doing like portrait shots or engagement photos, active photos, things like that. This is a Pro Master. It works really well. It's got an articulated head that actually comes off, and you can actually put it on pretty much any kind of tripod that has a 3/8 mount to it, which is really fun because this has a very fine system of setup of angling 180 degrees either way, full rotation, things like that, removable shoe. I use that a lot. So those are my tripods and monopods that I use for my videos a ton. So we get into a little bit goofy other ways to mount my cameras. This is my Steadicam. It's basically a rig that you mount your camera to, and then you're able to walk with it, and as you walk, it basically creates a fluid movement as you move. I don't have any videos on my Steadicam of how I use it, but I plan on doing it. But my technique isn't as good as a lot of people. But if you ever want to know what a Steadicam does, just go to YouTube and look up Steadicam. This is a oh shoot, I can't remember, Cowboy something. Blue Cowboy? I don't even remember what it's called, but it's a fairly inexpensive Steadicam. It's like about $100. For some reason they're expensive, but that's cheap. This is my camera shoulder rig that I made out of PVC pipe and gaffing tape. This little pole right here attaches to the back and it can set on your shoulder. Camera mounts in right there. This is some shoe mounts where I can actually mount microphones and things like that. So I use that for when I'm moving around and I want a little bit more grip over my SLR cameras, because obviously SLR cameras don't have handles and they give you a really funky way to hold them, and it's not that great for when you're actually moving and trying to do video. So those are, you know, basically my camera rig setups for when I'm moving around. So we're on the last subject, but it's my most favorite subject for a YouTube videos is audio, and I believe that audio can make a video 10 times better than it could be. I mean, you could have some of the greatest video subject matter, but if your audio is not very good, it can take away from that so much. So I'm really big into audio, and so I love microphones, and I'll just give you a brief rundown of all my microphones. One of the first microphones I started using was a H2N. This is a Zoom H2N. This microphone is probably the best microphone I have in all my arsenal because it does a high sample rate. It's self-recording. One of the best ways to do audio for video is basically record it separately from the camera and then go in and sync the tracks together later on in post. So that's a lot of my videos are done that way. So if you hear some of my videos and my audio just sounds like just irregularly good for how crappy the video looks, that's because I'm using this bad boy. I do have a video on it talking about how I use it. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll put a link down below in the description box. If I don't, remind me. This is my second purchase that I ever did. This is my wired lav. It's got a 16-foot long cord and a little lav mic, and this would plug into the Zoom or directly into a camera that has microphone inputs like my SLRs do, and it works really well for just stationary interviewing or speaking and things like that, and it worked really good. I don't use it very often anymore, but it does work, and this is by Audio-Technica, and I do have a video on that as well. Hopefully I'll put that link down below. My second set, this is one of my favorite sets to use, especially when I'm working with somebody. These are my wireless lav system by Audio-Technica. Basically, I have a receiving unit that mounts to my camera, plugs into it, and then I have a transmitter with a lavalier mic attached to it, and then my subject or myself can move around free of hands, and if you mount the mic really well, you don't get any you know, clothing movement or shuffling around or anything like that, and it works really, really well. One of my favorite things about this setup is you can literally get like 30 feet away from the camera if you were like talking about a very large subject or like looking at something very big and you're over by it and the camera's far away. You still sound like you're super close, so people don't think you're like yelling over it. Another thing about these mics that's really nice is they don't pick up a lot of background noise. So like if there's people talking or if you're like out in a park or something, you're gonna still sound super close and personal with very little background noise, and I really like that about this microphone setup. My other favorite mic to use is my Rode video mic. This is a shotgun mic that mounts directly to your camera. It's got a shock system to it, and it plugs through that mic, that jack into your camera, and it works really well for just active shooting, running and gunning. It's got two settings set up where it can eliminate a lot of background noises like car engine noise, white noise, things like that, so your subject sounds really good, especially outdoors. And then a second setup to kind of warm the noise and crispen your actual subject audio when you're indoors and you're not worrying about as much background noise. And I do have a video on this guy as well on some tips and tricks on how to use it. Put that video link down below as well. Then last but not least, this is my Audio-Technica shotgun mic that I use on a Rode shotgun boom. I don't use this very often, but a lot of times I will mount this sucker, like wire it up to the H2N Zoom and have that like basically in someone's pocket, and then they will run around and hold this mic over the top of people as we talk to them, and then my mic operator or my sound man will be able to, you know, monitor what's going on through headphones that do plug in through the Zoom, and he can hear what's going on through the shotgun mic, so he can better judge where the mic needs to be as we're filming and doing running and gunning. I don't use this setup very often because obviously I don't film with people very often, but every now and then I do some shoots and stuff with other people to help them out. So that's basically my mic system. Well, that's that. That's pretty much my YouTube arsenal of all the video equipment that I have. I hope it kind of gave you an idea of what you can get or what you might want to change in your arsenal. If you guys ever have questions or want some advice, don't be afraid to ask. And if you have some equipment that you need assistance with, I might be able to help you with it. And if I'm not able to, I bet you I can find somebody that will find the answer to the question that you have. So other than that, you guys take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys later.